Hey everybody, so I'm going to be practicing giving a speech to you today. I wrote it in writing and I'm going to see if I can speak it to you in oral form so that you can better understand it through the spoken word and the conversation. So the video today, we're going to be talking about why love is the most important aspect of healing. So first and foremost, any part of consciousness that is fragmented is separated from love, and this love is love with a capital L. It's not human desire or human sexuality, but it is a divine love that encapsulates all of existence, all of human life, and all of the universe if we are so called to tap into that. So we need to be able to tap into it to access it. It's always there, but most of the time, most people are in a very low state of consciousness, meaning that their awareness is very low and contracted, so they are literally unable to access that field of love. So we're talking about why love is the most important aspect for healing trauma. So let's get into it. What is trauma? Trauma is an experience that is unable to be processed by the system, by the egoic system at the time of the trauma. Trauma emotions are very dense, negative, and they are traumatic in the sense that the system could not feel it without psychologically annihilating itself. It takes a lot of maturity to even be able to feel the feelings of any sort of trauma or childhood trauma. So imagine, especially if you're a child and you are at the mercy of your caregivers, you are going to need to push away those feelings because you have no idea on how to even feel them in that moment. You have no idea of what trauma even is in that moment. So your system is coping in the only way that it knows how. So what this does is that it fragments the system, it fragments the soul. The egoic structure will fragment, and the soul of that consciousness will retreat into the unconscious, and the system, or the self-care system of the ego, will take over, and it'll be a narcissistic structure that is protecting the rest of the soul from further experience of harm. So it's a protective mechanism from any sort of abuse, but if left unhealed into the adult life, it becomes the perpetrator of further harm and of disembodiment of the soul from experiencing life, from having a sense of vitality and life to you. So you can so the trauma itself is not processed in the storytelling mode. That part of the brain goes completely offline because you're in a heightened fight or flight state, and it's only processed or experienced somatically, and so that trauma is stored somatically in the vessel or in the body. Now, at the time, the child or the person is likely to be unable to fully feel those feelings and process those feelings. So the true, authentic, innocent self retreats into the unconscious, and then the trauma itself stays in the body unprocessed. And disassociation happens where the person is unable to even feel the emotions in their body on a daily basis. Sound familiar? So why this is so important about love is that love is the antidote to what happened to the traumatized victim. The traumatized victim consumed a lot of shame as a result of their trauma. This shame is there because it was offloaded from the abuser into the victim. The victim was made to feel ashamed about any sort of part of themselves. So what is shame? It's a vibration that is so far away from love and from our truest nature, which is unconditional love, which was that field that I was talking about in the beginning. Shame is a deep sense that you or any part of you is vile, wrong, or unlovable. So as a result, to survive in this society, we need to push down those aspects of ourselves that we feel shame about and only show the ones that get us love. Shame is the emotion of unlovability. It's deeply overwhelming, and it's very close to death and signals to the system that it is about to annihilate. So it is very traumatizing to the system, and it causes what I told you about earlier with the disembodiment. Some say shame is not even an emotion, but it is a physiological response. So the title of this video is on love and how love is the most important aspect of healing. So what does love have to do with all of this? Well, it may seem pretty intuitive that love is the antidote to shame. Like I said, it's the opposite of shame. Instead of the pushing away of something, it is the complete and total acceptance of whatever aroused that original shame. So instead of feeling unworthy, one would bring those aspects close to the self and may even bask in the beauty of them. Love is to take something as a part of the self. It is the healing antidote and the healing balm to any sort of fragmentation or trauma in the system. And yet, love is rarely talked about in our modern culture. It's rarely talked about in the spiritual sense of the meaning of what it is. Sure, there is tons of media on romantic love and lust, but on true spiritual healing love is it rarely even acknowledged as real, which is baffling. Even as a therapist, I'm in therapist school, they barely even touch on what love is and how to love our clients. It's rarely to even hear that word because it's something that feels too personal to be in a therapeutic relationship. And yet, it is the most important aspect that you could probably bring to your therapeutic relationships. So what does love look like? Well, love doesn't actually have to look like anything in particular. Love is a vibration. It's an awareness, and it's a truth. It is not a thought, but a deeply felt knowing that surrounds the field in which we are a part of. So to tap into this unconditional love is to tap into the higher consciousness that knows and sees and feels beyond our human egoic concerns. To tap into the field is to be able to heal any trauma. The field is infinitely deep and can infinitely heal. It just takes someone willing to surrender enough to channel that love. When you unlock the love within yourself, you allow the accessing of the consciousness in another. States of consciousness are contagious. Just like the state of consciousness of shame was contagious to your system, so can love be. So when you see that divine love in another, you can transfer that knowing, that witnessing, and ability to access that level of consciousness or awareness. It heals the person to the extent that the person is able to receive and to hold the vibration in the rest of their life. It may take them a while of training themselves in reprogramming their minds. The love itself was a sacred gift, an offering of felt vibration. In a sense, when you love another unconditionally, you open their minds to the knowing of their lovability. You expand their consciousness. Before, if they're in a self-hating consciousness, it's very contracted and dense. You expand their consciousness, and you allow the client to feel almost safe enough to surrender to that annihilation that their ego structure was protecting them from with the original trauma. But instead of dying, the trauma is transmuted in the field, and the love brings them into wholeness, to unity, and to healing. The fracture mends and is thus forgotten in the ever-changing moment of now, because past and future do not exist, only now. And so, in a sense, you have mended and rewritten and healed their field of consciousness, past, present, and future. So, in my next lesson, I'm going to talk about what the importance, how do we develop this love? Okay, thank you.